I think we are live. Hi, everybody. Beth here from Access Paranormal, coming to you live from London on a sunny Saturday morning here in obviously in good old London town. For this month's I Want to Know, I will actually mention though to beautiful people. This will actually be the last I Want to Know. There's been so many changes happening in the world recently. A lot of people are taking this format that I've developed, but obviously, people are doing their own thing. It's not because of this particular format, and making it their own and having great discussions about some fantastic paranormal topics and collaborating with other people. And as it should always develop and evolve. But I think it's probably good to sort of retire. I Want to Know after 4 years. I know, 4 years. Originally it was once a week, and then of course that was for a couple of years. Then I needed to take a break, and then it went to once a month. And I think it's a good time now to kind of retire back from I Want to Know. And of course I'll be doing other things similar to I Want to Know, but it'll be different sort of formats, and obviously collaborating with other people as well. So yeah, this will be the last I Want to Know, and I want to thank everybody that's been watching all the way through all these years. I wouldn't have kept it going if it wasn't for the requests for this kind of stuff going as well. Hi, Marie. Good to see you, lovely one. Oh, thank you. Oh, $50 to you, lovely lady. So thank you, everybody, again, for watching and being interested all these years and submitting your questions, because it was about topics and paranormal topics all around, different ways to investigate and different ideas and thoughts, and, going through different videos that have been up on social media. And then we sort of pull it apart and have a look at different ways and how to sort of see whether or not it could have been legit or not. So thank you very much to everybody that has joined in over the years. So let's get stuck into it. This is all about ley lines, not all about me. And this, of course, was a question that was sent in a little while back. Now, originally, this particular topic was actually going to be about personality disorders and how it affects within regards to the paranormal, and how that knowing those can help you when you're investigating possible paranormal cases. Hi, everybody. Hi, Charmaine. Hi, lovely. I thought it would probably best to change it to ley lines, because I think that kind of topic is very in-depth. When I was do the initial research and going through my notes and everything like that, and after a while I was like, yeah, look, this is kind of like half a day as opposed to like maybe sort of 15-20 minutes, if that. So I'm obviously ley lines is a way more easier subject to have a bit of a chat about with regards to the possibility of paranormal stuff as well. Hi, everybody. Thank you. So of course, ley lines, now at first I thought, it's pretty simple. There's some lines in the earth, and it's created naturally somehow, and then that thanks for coming. But once you dig down, you'd actually be quite surprised how much there's a belief behind it, also the reasons why, and the possibility of it affecting possible paranormal phenomena that people experience in locations, particularly location-centered ones, of course, as opposed to ones where we think maybe a person may be haunted. So, of course, it was termed by a gentleman called Alfred Watkins. He was an archaeologist back in 1921. And the name, some people call it dragon lines, is another term here that they use as well. But also ley can be like an open meadow, open glade of some sort too. There's also different crisscross around the world. So in the original picture of this particular show, I guess you could say, session, as we're talking, it gives you a very broad idea, a very large global sort of aspect of what that particular picture was. So there's crisscross of lines considered all around the world, and obviously there's a difference when they cross. So we'll talk about that soon. And these lines are along the lines of these particular lines, I guess you could say. There are actually buildings and monuments that have been created that are really quite significant. An idea or a school of thought is that the reason why, say for instance, Stonehenge is meant to be on the ley line. I know the Great Pyramids in Egypt are meant to be on the ley line, and science at the moment isn't 100% sure how these beautiful monuments were created in the time that they were. And some people believe that maybe the energy of the ley lines that they sit on could have actually either inspired the people to have built them where they were, or been the energy to help create and give them the energy to create it. We don't know. It's just literally speculation, but some really interesting ideas about why these particular monuments are actually, out there and being built. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll show a picture of, there's an actual another reason why Watkins was interested in this is because there is a line that he believed that went from Northern Ireland all the way down to the Mediterranean. And on that line, there is a reference to Michael in a building of some sort, in a different language, in a different age time in that line. So is that a possibility of a ley line? Could that be a possibility of a ley line? So I thought that was really quite interesting, that the fact there's a repeated pattern, not just of very significant buildings, but also at the same time the buildings, the name of the buildings and the areas in which they were built actually have the word Michael in it, in that particular linear sort of perspective. So fascinating stuff, isn't it? So it's a paranormal, isn't just black and white, guys, many shades of grey. So there's that as well. Also, with regards to ley lines, there's a gentleman called Paul Devereaux who said none of this stuff exists. He's like, this doesn't happen. It's just coincidence, literally just coincidence. And he thought, the only reason why people got this idea was because it was people that found an occult book and it talked about ley lines. So everybody believed it because it was particularly those who believed in spiritualism. And then of course people afterwards went out and actually created their own ley lines. Now it doesn't mean they literally went into the earth and sort of dug it away. It was more the fact that they were able to draw ley lines between restaurants, pizza restaurants in particular, movie theatres, and saying that movie theatres were created in a certain line all across the country here in the UK, or pizza restaurants that happened to all be in a certain linear sort of grid line as well. So people actually ended up creating their own ley lines to be able to try and disprove the fact that anyone can make anything out of anything if they so wished. But still, there's a strong belief within ley lines and their possible supernatural sort of presence, I guess you could say. Now, one thing I found it was interesting is when I was reading about this is that people say that when they cross, so obviously there's the grid lines, but when they actually cross over into an intersection, it's called a vortex. Now, at first in the past, I've always often sort of cringed a little bit myself when I hear sometimes mediums talking about, there's a vortex in the closet of this particular home. I'm like, really? Why would they be in the closet? But apparently, there when the ley lines do cross over, there is a vortex of energy that is created. And because of that, again, it's considered something that can be quite powerful, quite magnetic in its particular spot. Take that with a grain of salt. I believe in Bodnam Castle in Cornwall, they believe that there are ley lines that have actually crossed in that particular section as well. And apparently, it can sometimes attract lower vibrational entities. Now, I thought that was really interesting, having something that's considered quite natural for it then to attract a lower energy vibration in a particular spot. Whatever floats your boat. The positive energy also, that's one thing, is that if you get to, like I say, there's a positive ley line that hits on a negative location, you're going to actually get what they call, I think the term is black stream. So you actually get, so it's a positive energy and it hits on a negative location. So they cross over, you're going to get, it's almost like amplified negative energy. And apparently that sometimes can be an explanation of why some locations may feel really, really oppressive, really kind of like you walk in and you're like, oh, geez. And it may not even necessarily be an old building. It could be a new building. It may actually have no other reason why this particular location can feel so oppressive or sad. Some people can say that, well, maybe it's because they're across ley lines on a negative area, and that's kind of amplified and called it what they say a black stream. Now, it does. As again, the ley lines are meant to produce a low level of vibration, which I found really interesting from a physical perspective, because I'm all about, well, why would it be low vibration? Rewind my mind just way quick. Low vibration, we know with infrasound is something that we can't see, something that we can't hear. It's below the level of hearing, yet we can sense it. So I'm thinking, is that what they're talking about when they say, okay, there is like a low level frequency, but then again, there are beliefs that it can cause headaches and nausea and dizziness and tingling sensations. And again, that's something that can be confused with a possible spirit entity being around. So maybe it's the environment naturally occurring in some way that we haven't understood yet, and not to do with the spirit. So I thought that was interesting, because it goes along the same side, the same way as infrasound could possibly. Then, of course, you can bring in the whole topic of UFOs and ETs and space travel. Yes, there are people that believe that there are ley lines in space, not just here on Earth. And that is how UFOs are able to travel through what I guess you could say wormholes even, and they get to be able to travel to different parts of the universe in warp speed for millions and millions of light years in a fraction of the time. So again, if there, it makes sense if there could be grid lines possibly or ley lines here on Earth, then what's to say that space doesn't have it as well? Well, we don't know everything. So I thought that was a really interesting way to help explain maybe why there could be space travel and people have been able to see UFOs, and we may possibly have had visitation from people or entities from other planets. Very, very fascinating. Also, ley lines have been associated with high strangeness, I think is the loosely termed thing. So say, for instance, to me, being able to go to location and then having, someone experiencing poltergeist activity. There's been Bigfoot sightings. There's also been UFO sightings as well, or UFO flap around the area. And it's almost like you've got the paranormal lasagna. Obviously the paranormal is a lot more other topics as well, but like this one location which seems to have all these. Could it be the possibility of a ley line where it's attracting this type of sort of phenomena, where it's attracting, cryptozoology, sort of animals, and it's attracting the possibility of UFOs more drawn to places of concentrated vibration and all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's fascinating. Like again, it's a rabbit warren. You just go through one area, you think, well, maybe is an attraction thing. Is it a reason why some locations just seem to be this area? I mean, I think where I was living back in Australia and in the Blue Mountains, they called it the Area 51 of Australia because you're higher up enough to see if you wanted to do a sort of UFO sky watching. There were still reports of the Australian Yowie, and then of course there was many haunted buildings in the area. So it just seemed this one area just seemed to have it. I don't know. Since doing this research, that's one thing I wanted to go and have a look back and see whether or not that particular area, or maybe I was sitting on a ley line and I didn't even know it. Paranormal lasagna, thank you, lovely. I know it's almost like it's all the great things that come into play, it's like the golden triangle, I guess is another way, but I think lasagna just makes you way more hungrier. Yeah, lasagna. Yeah, I know. I've started a trend now. Everyone's probably going to have lasagna for dinner tonight. But yeah, so it's very interesting that these different ways in which it could possibly explain paranormal phenomena, the fact that the energy in an environment can actually affect a person as well. Now, of course, with this, in regards to this, you can actually find your own, apparently. Now, I haven't tested this out, but apparently Vortex Maps provides the download UVG grid plugin. So there's a plugin, I believe it would be to your browser, and you're actually able to go onto Google Earth, and I think you're actually able to find ley lines. So I'll leave that up there for people to make a note of if they so wish. I thought that was really interesting. Again, I haven't tried it yet. My laptop will probably crash if I tried, but give it a shot. I might try my work one, just saying, and had sort of find out whether or not there's something that can be done. But again, like people have mentioned in the past, that they can actually create or find their own ley lines. So whether you believe in it or not, I think it's a really interesting phenomena to actually consider. When it comes to possible paranormal phenomena, I don't think we completely should rule it out. I think we should really, it's another logical reason to look at our environment as a possible effect of why we may feel like we could be having a possible paranormal experience, or maybe it's not. But I think we need to look at all avenues as well. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting, isn't it? It's an very interesting topic. So guys, go and check it out if you can. I just, as I said, at first I thought it was going to be a sort of like a pretty layman sort of style topic. It wasn't, it hasn't been. And again, like it's the rabbit warren of paranormal and how we find out how, whether or not there is an afterlife, and how we can find ways to pull away what could be causing things to our bodies, to happen to our bodies and minds that isn't possibly spirit related at all. So anyway, do take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching for all the last 4 years and recently as well. I will be back on, of course, on different projects, as I mentioned before. I do appreciate everybody's input over the years with regards to this, and I do hope everyone takes care and stay safe in this in uncertain time, and look after yourselves as well, and keep researching.